Welcome. This is Barry Jones from the Angel School, and we're here for our weekly angel reading for April 26th through May 2nd, 2021. So before we begin, I'd just like to welcome everyone, especially those who may be new to my channel, and invite you to join our Angel School community. There are just at this point a couple of ways that you can do that, interact with our community through this channel, as well as through my Twitter account and my Facebook page. There are links below the description box or area where you can find those links. As also, there's a link to my website, theangelschool.com, where you can sign up for a angel reading. Since the pandemic, I've been offering my half-hour angel reading for $77 and extending it for 1 full hour. And this will be continuing to the month of May, so that when you go to my webpage, you would just see the half-hour reading and you would select it as is. And within 24 hours on the first business day of the week, I will send you a confirmation email noting the special offer. And within that email, there will be special instructions to help facilitate, help you to set up the appointment. So I usually indicate the starting date for when I have availability, so pay attention to that and within the email. And then I always ask everyone to give me at least 3 weeks of availability, or in at least enough time. Sometimes you may not have enough weeks, enough availability within a week, so you may need to go a little bit further to do that. And how that works is I will take those times within my office hours, which are from 12 noon to 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I will create, sit with the angels and choose the opportune time for our session together. Okay, so that's a very important part of our process, and so just be aware of that. Let's see, and also, recently a client asked if they could act as a translator for another one of their friends or loved ones, and I never thought about submitting that idea to some of you who may not, who may want a reading, but there might be a barrier of language, and so you're more than welcome to have, if you have someone, a translator on this session with you for that, okay? And I think that's it for right now. So this week I'll be coming up working on the monthly angel scopes for the month of May, and so we'll, for each zodiac sign, and we'll get some insights as well about the energy for the month with those readings. So there's all these different ways to tune in. And I also just want to thank everyone for their love and support. As this past week I had to clear my mother's home, and it was an amazing experience. It was very sad. Of course, I cried at every little thing that I opened, but I was filled with such gratitude, and what really shocked me was the appreciation I had for my entire past. Not just what happened in my home, because that goes without saying. I mean, because my mother was an extraordinary person, an extraordinary woman, and everything about my faith and my connection with God and Source and the universe was nurtured by my mother in a very traditional way. She gave me that foundation because my mother was very traditional, but it just set the stage for what happened in my life. And I also had this total appreciation for, growing up where I grew up, in that part of Virginia. I just felt, such gratitude for the city that I was born in, the neighborhood, and my neighbors, who are part of my family, and my blood relatives. I just felt it all. And, growing up for me, I guess we all feel like it's awkward, right? But being gay was very awkward, and especially at the time I was born, and you couldn't. And so I had a lot of sort of negative experiences, and we all do. But for some reason, there was just a profound healing, and I'm just so grateful for God and the angels for somehow just creating a shift in my perspective and the way I feel or felt about the past. And it was just totally unexpected. And so I appreciate all of your patience and the time span that I needed to be present for that, and to go through that healing process, which I had no idea was going to occur. So let's take this moment. The angels are really present. A lot of different archangels are with us right now, and they're forming a circle around us. And they just want you to relax, and they wrote carelessness. They want you to just let everything go. And this might be hard to do. So this idea of carelessness might be really a challenge. But they're writing a teacher. We have to let things go so that we can really be clear about what's important. Because it's a sense of, you have all these different strings, going. You got all these things going, all these attachments. And then it just becomes so overwhelming that you don't even know what's the string, the important one. You can't find it, and everything's just all over the place. And they're basically saying you have to let go of every string. Just let every one of them go. Just have a moment of carelessness. Give yourself this opportunity. And when you do this, then you'll recognize, you'll be clear in your heart. Your heart will be clear to then understand which strand is your priority right now. But you can't figure that out with all of it. And so they're writing the word management. There's something about, stress management, time management, these kinds of things. Learning how to manage things by really getting clear about what your priority is. What is your role? What is your job in this moment? They're writing the word request. Okay, what is your heart, your soul requesting of you? And you can't do that by holding all the strings. Some of them belong to other people or circumstances, situations. They have nothing to do with you. You just got involved somehow. You got caught in the crossfire. You placed yourself there. And maybe you have this habit of taking the responsibility on that others need to take for themselves. And they're really asking you to listen to the messages that are coming to you. And this is going to take a little practice. And it's not like this negative attack. I don't care. No, we're not talking about there. But it's just relaxing and letting go and holding this space of, I know this sounds like an awkward turn of phrase, but carelessness. where it allows you to become clear, because the one that is really important, the one that uplifts you, that motivates you, that gives you a sense of purpose and direction, clarity, that's the one that belongs to you. Because there's a whole lot of inner knowing about how to develop that. And all the others, you're going to have to return the reins or let others pick up some of those reins. Because we really can't all do it ourselves. That's not your role. And in our times now, we have been given this idea, with all this idea of multitasking. And that means that we're learning how not to be focused on our purpose. That whole idea of multitasking is really a disruption to mindfulness. You can't be in the present when you don't have a clear focus, intention, etc. And I know that our jobs and our lives seem to almost require it, but they don't truly. The responsibility, we have to share it. We have to know what we're good at and do that. And there are times we're going to need to learn, and that's going to be a part of our own healing process and our evolution, our growth and development. But we have to be clear about what our purpose is and what our intention is, so that we are growing on a particular path that's really leading somewhere that's going to benefit you, and also others will benefit from it as well. So you may have trouble, they were bringing up the word manifestation, and this might be one of the problems you're having in manifesting something you desire, because your mind is split, your focus is split, it's splintered into too many different things, and you can't gather momentum because you're not giving enough attention to any one thing for one to really take off on its own. When we really give our attention to something, this is what causes the laws of the universe to really engage with that particular interest that you have. And every component then feeds into that what you're concentrating on. But when you've got too many things going, you're not able to focus, you're not able to have a clear intention, and therefore that nothing is able to be nurtured enough. The seeds of these different things aren't getting enough nurturing to be able to grow at all. Think of your attention as like sunlight, because that's how I kind of see the law of attraction as well. What you focus on increases, but if you're not really focused, and if you're thinking that you're focused because you have this ability to multitask, you're not really focused. You're just doing a lot of things, but not really impacting it with your spiritual power. So all these things you have going are starving for sunlight. All those little seeds are starving for sunlight. And they're writing the word orgasm. And I guess what they're saying is you never really have a climax. You never experience pleasure when you're multitasking. You never experience pleasure in what you're doing. You never reach that climax, that release, and then that freedom afterwards where, you know, you're just in this state of bliss where you're enjoying the success. So this is really important for us to open ourselves to this idea, to really focus. And one of my friends was saying this to me, you know, because like, oh, I bought a new deck, or I have a lot of decks, but I bought a new deck, and this one is offered, has a tarot program. So I was like, I want to do this. I bought some books, and I want to do this, and then I have this other book I'm reading, I want to do this. And it's like, no, I got to focus on one thing. Focus on it, because that's how you're going to get the benefits from it, the pleasure from it, and how it's really meant to help you accomplish what it is that you truly desire. And you're going to find that this narrowing of focus is going to start to allow you to really manifest your desires. So let's put this in our caps, our thinking caps, as a part of what's getting in the way. Another thing. But let's focus on this and see how this plays out for you in terms of finding more momentum and being able to really have more a sense of purpose, because you're not scattered everywhere. Okay, let's take a look at the Archangel Oracle card. And we have the Archangel Raquel. So his name means the friendship of God. Let me just pull him down. And I'm just focused on those scales there and the balance, that you got to remember that everything is happening in divine order. The universe, this is about the universe always maintaining the balance. So you remember I was telling you I had read somewhere where they said oh my God, I forgot it. It was something like when a polar bear sneezes or something, a grain of sand somewhere else moves in a desert. So the idea was that whatever happens in the universe, somewhere else, there is a balance to that. It's almost like, it looks like the world right now is completely, full of chaos, and that we've lost the order. We've lost a sense of self, our sense of purpose. You may feel like this in your life, or you may feel like things are off or things are out of sync. But the thing is that whatever we do, there is a counter action somewhere else within the universe, which is maintaining the balance of the universe. Like if the universe was a perfect mathematical equation, and it's sort of like you could adjust, on either side or anywhere in between, numbers could be adjusted, and the universe is going to always make sure it equals to the same, value. I haven't studied math in a long time. I don't know if those are the right terms, but the value is always going to equal to the same. But they can, whenever you do something, they will just adjust the numbers. So it's sort of like the Rubik's Cube, where it has all these four sides and all the colors are there. And although it gets scrambled, all the sides are still, the value of all those different sides and those colors are still in divine order. So it's not like you're adding an extra cube to the Rubik's Cube and then it throws the whole balance off. We don't have the power to do that. So that means that somehow our perception is what usually is sort of creating this illusion that there is no order. And in your life, and I know often for myself, the reason for misunderstanding is not because something is truly off in the universe that is perfection. Creation is perfection. And I think about how with Native Americans, that idea of whenever they, whatever they took, they put it back. It was sort of the idea, right? So it's the same thing. We must do this. We must try to create this balance. So one way they're talking about this is for you to focus so that you can re-engage with and find alignment with the order, the divine order of your path, of your purpose in this moment. That together, collectively, we have to change the way we see each other from the heart perspective in order for us to see our true divinity. And once we do that, we can let go of our intolerance, our hatred, and etc. But it's our perception that's scrambling the world and revealing to us something that is not true in terms of the bigger picture of the divine scheme. It's true because we believe it, and we act from those impulses of illusions, and then we create a whole story, and everybody is reacting to it. So yes, it's real in that way. But the inner story of our soul is always and will forever remain the true story of our human experience, of our spiritual experience. And we always have access when we focus on God, when we focus on, and what I mean by that, when we focus on all things that are pure, that are loving, compassionate, and when we do that with integrity, when our actions have integrity, we have access to that spiritual sight. And in an instant, that divine order is restored. So the card says, everything is how it needs to be right now. And this is something else we have to accept. Like we were talking about last week, the rejection was about learning to accept yourself. And then you'll find that people will stop rejecting you because you're no longer rejecting yourself, right? And right now, there are lessons in the chaos. That's why it's still divine order, because it is helping us, each one of us is growing from the facets of that particular situation or problem that we're experiencing. It's challenging us to look within, to seek that divine order, and then project source, the vision of source or God, project that love vision. And it says, look past the illusion and see underlining order. Okay, so Archangel Raquel, this might mean that we need to look past other people's actions at this time. I think a lot of us are being triggered we're reacting to the illusions, and we're not listening because we're not focused on our spiritual purpose. And even in situations where arguments and things or disagreements unfold, those things are all projections of our ego. So we're just responding to another person's ego and to our own, and they're triggering our ego within us. So nothing about what has been said is true or pure. And when you go within and you focus on love, love will reorder that scenario. And I'm not saying that you're just it may be that you need to love this person from a distance, or that you may need to love them for who they are. But either way, when you do this, this is a gift you always give to yourself. Because whatever you see wrong in someone else, you then have that equal amount of judgment or criticism or self-loathing for yourself. So it's not about them. It's always about you, so that you are your best version or your best self, the best version of yourself. And then that allows you to attract the best versions in others, because we all have the potential. We have this spectrum of our personality and the versions that we can show up as. But when we offer that kind of compassion and love and perspective, we give ourselves the winning chance to show up in our best light. Okay, so let's take a look at the card for the beginning of the week. And we have the Ace of Pentacles. So this card is indicating, as all aces do, this, new beginning. And this energy of bliss. The aces start with all the charge that you need. This means that you're going to feel maybe gung-ho about a new opportunity or a new financial opportunity. You might actually receive some new stream of income, okay, that might come your way unexpectedly. Or you might tap into an opportunity that allows you to create a new stream of income, or give you a sense of a new sense of security. You might even just change the way you might let go of some limiting beliefs, and this opens up, gives you a new sense of freedom, right? Or you might just re-strategize the way that you are spending. You might see, okay, wow, I could really take, money from this where I'm just letting it just go down the drain and reinvest it in something else that allows you to have growth and allows you to start to feel safe. Because the thing about money is that it allows you, when you use it appropriately, it allows you to feel a little bit more secure. It gives you a sense of freedom to do certain things. And sometimes we, because we have a perception and we think in limitations. So this ace energy is saying that there's a reboot of some kind. And don't underestimate the sense of freedom or security that you might feel just because something shifts in your mind, all right? But it also alludes to that definitely you see this opportunity where you didn't see one before, okay? And you see that there's a snake with this sort of Ouroboros. So it's sort of this sense of cycles, so that, you might be starting a new cycle where you might notice a pattern. So I really want you to pay attention, because we're talking about manifestation, and I've been telling you about multitasking and all that stuff, and then really focusing. And you might find that you have this pattern with money. Like, all of a sudden I'm feeling like, really, like I got extra income, I'm feeling really good. And then there's those cycles where you feel crunched, and you might notice that it's emotional. It happens around times when good things happen or negative things happen, and all of a sudden you feel this lack. You either feel security or insecurity, and you may want to pay attention to the cycle, since we have this Ouroboros here, all right? And you have these eggs that she's surrounding and protecting, and to get this sense that you need to protect what you're what's developing. You need to protect those seeds. You need to give your attention. And the way to do this is to focus your attention so that you can really grow this opportunity. So let's put everything else aside in this week and focus on the opportunity that's right in front of you. Figure out what that priority is and nurture it with your attention. Give it all the sunlight of attention that it needs to get that leg up, to uplift you in your circumstances at this time. All right? Let's take a look at the card for, oh wow, we have another ace. So we have the Ace of Wands, or the Ace of Fire. So we have the Ace of Earth and the Ace of Fire. And, again, this is the ideas, inspiration, spirit. So we have this phoenix, so there's a sense of rebirth, of renewal. So there's a lot of renewal energy for you in this week. And with this divine order piece, it feels like a reboot of energy. And there's a potential to, so 10 would have been the end of each one of these suits. So that means that there's an ending, where there's an ending, and I believe you're going to see endings. You're going to also at the same time see new beginnings. So there's a sense of a reboot of energy in this week. So you have here ideas that might come. There might be a refresh in your beliefs that allows you to be able to really work and work towards new opportunities. It gives you this room to really develop on the physical plane, because the spiritual plane of your soul is just blazing, and passionate is the word I'm just seeing. So focus on what you're passionate about. This is what sort of the answer to this, what you need to give your attention to. Focus on what you're passionate about. Focus on something that just, like you feel refreshed or rejuvenated. You feel like you're coming out of the ashes. And this thing just allows you to soar in a way, to a height that you haven't felt in a very long time. It's something orgasmic. And I see the word explosive for you. All right. So, really lots of pleasure. Just really tap in and enjoy the pleasure of what you are creating, what's evolving or coming to you. All right. And they're writing the word change. So this is going to be enormous change for you. All right. Let's take a look at the card for the end of the week. And we have the Knight of Fire. Kind of looks like the guy in the Ice King in the Game of Thrones, doesn't he? But what I want you to notice about this, he's holding one of these pearl, or what she calls in her deck, and I forget the name, sort of crystal lattice, okay? And so it's this intention that this lattice, this all this concentrated energy, and he looks like he's walking, wherever he's you can tell that he's on the move. He's stirring up the fire. It's almost like when the horse's hooves hits the ground, the rocks and the earth, that it triggers these sparks. So you're feeling, you have the potential this week to, first of all, to experience a tremendous amount of change. You have the ability to move that dial. And it's up to you how far that dial gets moved. And it's all about passion. It's all about knowing, striking when it's hot. That's what I'm getting a sense of. It's about striking when it's hot and being focused on your intention and your mission. So in this week, you might get a strong sense about your mission. And don't let anybody else deter you. Don't listen to anybody else's opinions. Focus on your own, right? The Knight of Wands or the Knight of Fire knows what to do. When he sees a problem, he dives in without thinking or question to save the day. And you have a mission that in which you have, I just saw the word opera, so it may be a work, an important work in your life, right? Like an opus. It might be an important work in your life that you feel really passionate about, and you might feel that this is your role. This is what you really need this is where you're being called to serve. All right. And another thing about this card is it looks like, he's moving very fast and the winds are just blurring, but it also gives you the sense of like he's stepping between worlds, from one. It definitely looks like a creature from another world, right? Because he's part horse and human, so it looks like he's stepping through the veil, and so you really want to push past those illusions, all right, and really let yourself be revealed. So he wouldn't have a problem with that. He's not going to think, oh, I'm not going to look right if I do this. He's just going to dive in and do it. Okay, he's not afraid. He's confident. He has a lot of inner knowledge and wisdom. So trust yourself in that regard. Okay, and let's take a look at the card I've already pulled from the bottom of the deck. And, we just have, a lot of energy here that's very masculine, isn't it? So, the Earth is card is sort of feminine energy in terms of being like receptive energy. But we have the Chariot card, and it's a sense of you having a lot of momentum in this week. And again, this punctuates the entire reading of what they've been talking to you about, which is focus, right? Focus and determination and momentum. When you focus like the charioteer, the Chariot card, you gain momentum, and your will, your intention increases. You become more convicted and determined. So when we're multitasking, you can't really accrue this level of excellence. Okay? And so right now, this week, it's really important. The bottom line for you this week is this is your moment to really, focus and hone in on what your role, your purpose is right now in each one of the situations that, areas of your life, let's put it that way. Because we do, and then, we have these different areas like romance, our career, work, etc. And we have to know which one of those is our priority. And then while we're still having to do them, because you just can't just stop and not do the rest, right? You can't just walk out of your job. But what you can do is when you're at your job, you can find the purpose and the focus for that and focus on that and get that going. And sometimes you don't realize that when you focus in such a way, you actually take care of other things really well, or they fall into place, or you end up motivating others to kind of really jump in and take responsibility, and so that the work, the massive work, really gets done. So don't keep saying, oh, I got to do it all. And then you're like, I'm just frustrated. And this energy, I'm frustrated. Then it turns everybody off as well. And so nothing is really getting done. And that's why you feel like you're dragging your feet and you're full of, you're frustrated because you're not focused. You motivate others. And that's one way to do that is by being clear. You help others to be clear. All right. So I send you lots of love and angel blessings, and I wish you a beautiful week where you really feel like you're having a lot of success and clarity about your mission and your goals. Have a beautiful week. God bless you.